Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content I will be covering in the world of college football. If you guys haven't checked out episode 69, it's available on all four of our platforms: our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So if you guys haven't watched or listened to episode 69, it's now available on all four of those platforms. So let's dive into the bonus content I have for you guys today. I will be discussing who is the better college quarterback, college prospect, I should say, in the world of college football between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Now, both of these quarterbacks will be there is no debate, there should be no debate that both of these quarterbacks will be the first two quarterbacks taken in next year's NFL draft. Both quarterbacks have had great, spectacular years in their first season, officially starting for both of their respective programs. Bryce Young obviously starting for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and CJ Stroud starting for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So I will be discussing which prospect is the better between the two at the quarterback position. So I'll be breaking down what the two quarterbacks are great at, and I'll be discussing which player I do believe is better at each attribute in their game. So first off, I will be discussing who is the more accurate passer between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. To me, CJ Stroud is the more accurate passer. Last year in 2021, he completed 317 out of 441 passes, finishing the season with a completion percentage of 71.9%. This season, he has a completion percentage of 68.7. That's a little drop off from last year's completion percentage, but it's still early in the college football season. And I believe he will increase his completion percentage numbers as the season goes on. Then you look at Bryce Young coming off his Heisman Trophy season. Last year completed 366 out of 547 of his passes, finishing with a completion percentage of 66.9. This season, he has a completion percentage of 67.2. So you're seeing his completion percentage increase just a tad bit, which is good, showing improvements in his being as an accurate passer, I should say. So I still give that to CJ Stroud, even though Bryce Young is the more accurate passer as we are speaking as of right now, as of today. So, who is the more athletic quarterback between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud? That I'm gonna give that one to Bryce Young. Bryce Young, both quarterbacks can make a lot of great plays. They're both athletic guys, but Bryce Young is just in a world of his own at the quarterback position, being an athletic specimen out there on every Saturday. Afternoon, nighttime, whenever he gets the chance to step on the field, he's electric at the quarterback position. Makes a lot of plays with his arm, makes a lot of plays with his legs, scrambles out of the pocket, and makes a lot of pretty balls moving on the run, throwing the ball on the run. He is a really athletic quarterback. That department, Bryce Young is more athletic than CJ Stroud. Then let's talk about arm strength. Who has the more arm, or is more stronger throwing the ball, and who can make better plays with their arm? That one I'm gonna give it to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is I wouldn't label him as a pocket passer, but if you're talking about great college quarterbacks in that position today, playing from the pocket, CJ Stroud is just a field general. He has a feel for his pocket presence, his arm strength. He throws a lot of pretty deep balls as well. If you guys haven't checked out his game, and Bryce Young does as well, but CJ Stroud, there's nobody in the country that does it better than him with his arm strength. That department, I'm gonna give it to CJ Stroud. Better playmaker. This one was a tough one for me because both guys can make plays out of the backfield at the quarterback position. A lot of great throws, but this playmaker, I'm gonna go to Bryce Young. Like I just touched on a few moments ago, Bryce Young is really reliable, making plays with his arm, making plays with his legs. Bryce Young can do a lot of things that 90% of quarterbacks can't do in the country. He's a special, spectacular player. Playmaking wise, Bryce Young can get it done. I think CJ Stroud is a great playmaker as well, but when you're talking about guys that could get it done with his arm and his leg, that department goes to Bryce Young as well. Which quarterback is better in the clutch situations? Now, both of these guys have only started for their respective programs for a year and a half now. Both of these guys got their first starts last year in the 2021 season. So who is the better player in the clutch situation? You have to go based off of their first couple starts. I would have to say Bryce Young. Bryce Young has gotten Alabama out of a lot of situations last year. You can even look back at the situation where they might have missed the college playoffs when they were playing in the Iron Bowl against Auburn in a tough SEC matchup last year, playing Auburn on the road in that Iron Bowl. It looked like the Alabama was down and out of that game, but Bryce Young brought them all the way back, won that game, and saved their college football playoffs, their dreams alive for that last year. If they lost that game to Auburn, I don't even think they would have made the college football playoffs last year. So clutch situations, Bryce Young has always shown in his only year and a half playing as a starter that he is a very clutch athlete. And so is CJ Stroud, not to take anything away from him, but I think in big-time moments and big-time atmospheres and clutch situations, Bryce Young is the more clutch quarterback between the two. And you have to look at his resume. He's 18-2 in his college career. He won a college football playoff game last year in dominating fashion, beating Cincinnati last year in the first round, and won the SEC championship, beating the only team that beat Georgia last year. They did that in the SEC championship. So he has big-time games, big-time wins to his resume. Obviously, the world knows that they did not get it done when they lost to Georgia in the national championship game. But not to take anything away from CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is pretty good, has a pretty good record as a starter as well. He's 15-2 as a starter, and he is pretty clutch himself. Did go toe-to-toe with Utah in the Rose Bowl last year, which the Rose Bowl is one of, if not the most important bowl game, not minus any bowl championship that's on the line in the college football playoffs. You take that away, the Rose Bowl is the most prestigious bowl game in college football. So CJ Stroud did pull that off and helped Ohio State beat Utah last year in the Rose Bowl. So both of these guys are pretty good in clutch situations, but Bryce Young's resume so far is just more to look at in clutch situations more than CJ Stroud. And not to mention that Bryce Young was the best player in the country last year. He is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. So that, to me, it proves that Bryce Young right now, as we speak of today, is the better prospect than CJ Stroud. Both quarterbacks do have a bright future ahead of them. Both should be the top quarterbacks heading into the spring for the NFL 2023 NFL Draft. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to improve their game before they take their last snaps in college football this year. Both of them can honestly be in the college football playoffs this year. Alabama's looking pretty good so far, the number one ranked team in the country. Ohio State's not far behind them, one of the best teams in the country as well. So I think there is a possibility that these two quarterbacks could match up against each other in the college football playoffs. Be interesting to see Alabama take on Ohio State in the playoffs. But question marks I have regarding their future. Can Bryce Young continue to prove that Alabama quarterbacks are pretty good in the National Football League? You see the top, the most recent quarterbacks that have been drafted into the NFL coming from Nick Saban's Alabama team. You have Mac Jones for the New England Patriots right now, coming off an impressive rookie season. Did not do what he thought the world was going to do, which was bring the Patriots back to the Super Bowl last year. They got knocked down to reality when they got blown out by the Buffalo Bills in the wild card game. But Mac Jones looks like a pretty good prospect so far. You look at Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. They're the two top guys at the quarterback. One of the two top guys at the quarterback position this year. Both have their franchises in pretty good position after the first 4 games of the NFL season. Jalen Hurts helping the Eagles being the only undefeated team in the National Football League. His stock is growing as a quarterback in the National Football League. You look at Tua Tagovailoa, he's helping his stock, helping the stock of the Miami Dolphins rise as well. He's 3-1. Debatably, they could have beat the Cincinnati Bengals the other night if he was healthy. But both of these quarterbacks are striving for greatness right now and showing why Alabama does develop quarterbacks. And they can develop quarterbacks just like they do any other position. Running backs, linebackers, defensive tackles, defensive backs. Hey, wide receivers I can add in there as well. But quarterbacks look like they're on the come up if you play for Alabama. Hopefully Bryce Young can do the same thing when he gets to the NFL next year. And then you look at CJ Stroud. The question mark I have for him when he gets drafted in the NFL draft next year, can he break the curse that Ohio State quarterbacks truly have right now? You look at the most recent quarterbacks that were drafted from Ohio State to play quarterback in the National Football League. You look at Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace. Unfortunately, he passed away at the beginning of the year. But you look at Dwayne Haskins and his time in the NFL career, it just wasn't what anybody expected, being a top prospect out of Ohio State a few years ago. And then you look at Justin Fields, who is struggling to get his feet wet in the National Football League right now. He doesn't look as good as advertised right now. So that's a key warning. It might be a key warning to a lot of NFL scouts that they look good in college, but Ohio State quarterbacks cannot bring their game, translate their game and how good they were in college to the NFL. With CJ Stroud, I'm looking to see if he could break the curse. And I'm for saying that about Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a great quarterback in the national. He's a great quarterback, but he has yet to prove it in the National Football League right now. I understand he's in a bad situation with the Chicago Bears, but he hasn't stepped up to the plate and proved that he is as good as advertised. He should have been one of the top quarterbacks drafted in that draft class in 2021, but he doesn't look as good as advertised right now. I think a lot of it is only completing 8 passes a game, only completing on 8 passes a game. That's unacceptable for the level of high praise that he was getting at his college days. So I'm looking forward to see if CJ Stroud can break the curse and see if we could see if college quarterbacks coming from Ohio State are pretty good as what they were in college. But I think both of these guys are spectacular. I think Bryce Young is the better prospect as we speak today. There's no debate that these two guys should be the first 2 quarterbacks drafted in the 2023 NFL Draft. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.